Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Gotta wait for the laser beams, and then we say, hey, cats and kittens! Welcome once again to Super Connectivity! I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, falling through space and time to you to bring it all together. And with me, as always, is the man of my means, the blue-eyed bomber of the Burger Pits.
Phil me and Perich.
Welcome, Philip. I'm so glad you're here. I am always glad to have you with me to talk about the things that connect to each other. Let me think here. What do we want to talk about? Well, okay, so I did just say to you, we just had the season finale of Legends.
Mid-season, yep.
Mid-season finale, sorry. Yes, not season, because we will get back to it. But we're in our moment of forgetting his first name, the Steel guy, going to live in the totem.
Nate, yeah.
Nate Steele going to live in the totem, and all the wackinesses that are going to ensue from that. We've also, had a lot of, we did. So this was the 9 to 5 episode where we take out the boss, institute a bunch of reforms, and then have the big boss from corporate come in to say, we've done a great job with all these reforms. We want you to do this everywhere. Ha ha.
I mean, the thought was great, about reforming all these racist things in this plant. But it's like, if you're trying to stay off the radar as a time traveler, do you really want to be doing this?
The thing is, they never are, and that's the But I mean, that's the complexity of it, because as we see in this entire storyline, it's a flat time. Like, all of their actions lead back to other actions that lead back to them needing to take the actions. So, like, if they didn't kidnap this guy because of what he did in their past, which was his future, that future would have never happened.
Mm-hmm.
It is just these layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. And I do think we're going to basically get the end of it. So I don't know how many seasons are going to do this, but if they do want to end it this season, it obviously ends with Human Gideon as the captain of the Rave Rider with AI Gideon. And that's going to be those two now going through all of time and space, rebooting the timeline, keeping it in structure. And I do think that is going to be the where they leave it, if they leave it, because it's kind of set up. And they're probably going to do a Doctor Who-y thing with it. It's like, oh, well, I could restructure the ship to any shape you want. Ooh, maybe something blue,
Oh, yeah.
Boom. There you go. That's your joke. I really enjoy Legends of Tomorrow, and I've always enjoyed Legends of Tomorrow. And it's been a weird season because, it's kind of funny because I kind of got into the season a bit late this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't aware of exactly what was going on, especially with the robot Hoovers. But then again, we didn't get the explanation for the robot Hoovers until just recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's why we have robot Hoovers. That's why we have robot Thomas Edisons. None of it makes that much sense. But it also means that essentially, so now the question is was it the robot Thomas Edison who screwed over Tesla, or was it the original Or was it just the original did it and then the robot had to do it? It's like got to maintain the time. Then can't actually make a choice to have a better relationship with Tesla, where these two could have been partners working forward. But to be fair, it's the whole mind that conceives and the hand that creates kind of conundrum here, because he's working on Edison's project. Edison is coming up with the ideas and working with these engineers to build it. And the engineer may be brilliant, but is he? That's the young Sheldon crux that we had recently this last episode, which is he's taking his engineering course and he is brilliant, but he is not connecting the dots. He's not thinking about all the things that are happening. So, there's a lot in Legends. I really enjoy it. I'm going to be sad to see it go. I'm going to be sad to see most of what's going on in that whole Berlantiverse going away. I know that Lilith has things with the Berlantiverse, and I don't follow who these people are off screen. So it's always a shock to me when the bad things happen. So I don't know. I don't know why I'm supposed to not like it, but I find it all very enjoyable, except for Arrow, which was awful. Based solely on that first season. So that's the thing. It's like, at a certain point, that's the thing about, I think, and that is the basic problem, I think, with any kind of show that has a deep lore, is that if you're not inherently invested in the lore, if you have a conflict between the established universe and the TV universe, you're going to have these problems. And, I think Marvel has the exact opposite problem. Marvel's problem is that there was officially no conflict between the larger cinematic universe and the television universe, and even like the cartoon universe. Like, everyone was all supposed to be working together. We're all one big happy family. We're all working together to one idea. I think that what is behind the scenes at Marvel is overt at Warner's DC, and so that now you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what universe anything is happening in, and all universes are correct, but some are more correct, just like Animal Farm. And that is not a way to run a comic book company. That's all I'm saying, Philip. I guess there's stuff now. I guess some people are saying that Zack Snyder is teasing a new project with. I don't know. They're saying it's code, man. It's like the Zack Snyder, the Snyderverse people are like the comic book version of QAnon, where they're looking for secret codes. And not for nothing. And this is what worries me. I'm waiting for QAnon to co-opt them. It's like, no, Zack Snyder is working with JFK Jr. even as we speak to restore Trump as president. Because it's getting that way over there, Phil. It's getting that way over there, and I feel for these people. Here's what I'm going to say. I had lots of faith in the Trank universe. I had lots of hopes for the Inhumans. But when they failed, you got to accept that. Like Icarus, you get too close to the sun, your wings are going to melt. You're going to fall. And not everybody is cut out to make what these films are. That was one of the things I always remember is...
well, that's the problem, though, with like that Zack Snyder stuff. There's people who actually do enjoy it, which more power to you, but, Well,
I don't think any of Zack Snyder's films are per se bad films.
Technically, they're not bad. It's just, I would say, taste. They're not my cup of tea.
Well, yeah, it's a take on a character who has had a million different takes over the years.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Is like if you go back to the John Byrne Superman, he was a bit of a Lothario and a bit of and you could always tell when his beard would start to grow. That was a joke they made fun of, over in What the, when you had the Fantastical Four meets Superman, and that during his new reboot, and as he gets more and more into the fight, of course he's got a full beard. So it's just this idea that Byrne would play with that idea that this guy had a lot of power, and how's he going to balance it? And it's a good thing to ask those questions. It's just how you get to what is the right answer. And if you're not going to come from a place that Superman is doing it out of the goodness of his heart because that's just the right thing to do, then it all falls apart. Because if we're all living at the whim of Superman, then we're not. Then Lex Luthor is right, and maybe we really need to deal with this issue. That's the problem, is that you never want to be in those Luthor was right moments. You don't really want to be in the Thanos was right moments, and that's why we had an entire Endgame where we said, actually, just so you know, Thanos, he's got a good idea, but he's also kind of a jerk about it. It's like the idea isn't wrong, but his method of implementation is bad. And this goes back to your basic, socialist conundrum. Like the idea of, all of society working for the betterment of each member of society, that is a very good idea. Doing so by, putting people into gulags, not a good idea. Which was effectively what you get when you get to Superman Red Son. Again, you can do these stories with these characters, and they have this establishment within these universes. It's just when you want to make this the main universe Superman, you need something a little stronger holding him back. And the only thing strong enough to hold Superman back is Superman. And so you have to have Superman want to hold himself back. That's the thing. You have to have Superman understand why he needs to hold back, because he needs to because you have to have him realize that, and this is my own thing, is that Superman is just one man.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how powerful or fast he is, he cannot solve every problem in the world. As much as he might want to, it will always be a problem, especially because humans are going to want to do what humans need to do. And the most logical choice, when you enter into the game of politics, the most logical choice is not to play. That's the only way you win, is you don't play. And you say, you know what, I'm not going to sit here and stop you all from killing yourselves. But if things get really bad, I will probably save as many people as I can, because I'm freaking Superman and I can. But I'm not going to stop you all from building nuclear weapons or building these stockpiles, because at the end of the day, I can't be the one to decide for you, because you have to decide for you. Because if I just try to control everything will slip through my hands as sand. And arguably, you can make that point that is what Zack Snyder wanted to tell, but he wanted to show that growth to that point, that he understands he can't control things, and he's kind of frustrated about it the way that any human would be. But he never got there. So, that's the problem with art. If you can't tell the story that speaks to the audience, you're not going to do that. And apparently, Ridley Scott and his Stabby Night show didn't do well with people, and he's very mad at the audience because they didn't get his idea. Which is, I get I don't disagree with his basic premise, but I also say, but then why are you spending like $8 million to tell a story that's meant to be just, what are these humans doing in this moment and how are they interacting? It's like you don't have to spend that much money to tell that story.
Well, who was that? There was somebody I thought I read this week. Someone had a movie. I don't know if it was some kind of medieval thing, but it's like, I guess it didn't do good. It didn't make its money back.
Yeah, that's Ridley Scott.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's, and I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Was he the one who flipped out and was like, yeah, because these stupid kids watch it on their,
Yeah. That's Ridley.
Yeah.
Because at first someone had made the comment, Ridley Scott's House of Snoochie Booches. Basically just sort of. And I want to say that was God. I believe his first name is Edison. He's the writer, director, and producer of Psycho Ape, an internet phenomenon. Look it up, kids. Psycho Ape. If you like apes who kill things, this is the film for you. It is just this idea that he made this film, which is all about this medieval woman's honor is besmirched, and the two men have to do their jousty joust because of the woman's honor and whatnot. And, and then wackiness ensues. And they spent $1 billion on something that they could have done at a Ren Fair over the weekend,
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, you don't need to spend that much on that story. And it's not that story is not a good story. It's like, if you're going to spend that much to tell the story, now, you have to get people in this whole situation now to come see it. It's the Cleopatra conundrum. Cleopatra, one of the most epic films ever made, lost money because it just cost too much to make. And there was no way you're going to make your money back on the story because,
I'll tell you, they didn't spend enough on advertising, because I hadn't heard anything about this movie until I read that article about Ridley Scott complaining.
Yeah, and to that extent, and I will say that it did not get a full court press. It was always meant to be a small film. But then, and honestly, from the look at it, it looks like the kind of film that's like, it's going to do its job on Netflix and Hulu and all the streaming services, because it's the kind of film that I think that if you watched it on your TV screen, where you can really watch the characters and see their interactions, that's where that human drama is going to come through.
That's one of those things. It's like, hey, what they say, back that up. Let me listen to that again.
Yeah, well, especially when you've got whispering people talking in bad British accents.
Yeah.
And speaking of accents, then you also have House of Gucci coming out, which
they're advertising that. Let me tell you,
they're advertising that up the wazoo. And there's this thing about when you have characters speaking English with an accent that is supposed to be them speaking in another language. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. It's a Mia Mario. And that is, I think, some of the problem we're going to face in that. I got to be honest with you. I think actually one of the biggest complaints about Chris Pratt playing Mario is that I don't think he's going to do an accent. He's just going to be, hey, I'm Mario. I'm a plumber. And it's not going to be, it's me. I'm a Mario. I'm a big Italian stereotype.
I don't know which would be worse, with or without him doing the accent.
But that's the thing. It's like, when you actually think about it, and if you had to listen to Chris Pratt doing a bad Italian accent for 2 hours or an hour and a half, however long a Mario film is going to be, you got to say, you know what? That would probably get really grating by the end, and a little bit insulting. Because even if they got Al Pacino to do it, Al Pacino doesn't speak with an Italian accent.
Whoa.
No, exactly. You can get these people to do the job, but it's like, but when you start off with, it's me, Mario, you have to sort of take it to another level where he can be real.
Yeah.
I think Chris Pratt, for what it's worth, has kind of made his business on taking outlandish characters and making them real. Whether you're Emmett from the Lego movies or you're Star-Lord, you're always something a little, or the guy who, I train raptors and ride motorcycles, Everything about that sentence is just fanciful. Yeah. There's nothing about that that has a bounding in reality, but he takes them and he puts his, well, look, I'm a regular guy, and yeah, I guess maybe I might get abducted by aliens and now I'm, out in space stealing stuff. Or, I'm a regular guy and now, hey, there are dinosaurs in this world and I guess I got to train them. or hey, I'm just a regular guy, and you know what? I guess I'm also made of plastic and I'm a Lego. And he can translate that, and that is why, for all of the nonsense about the character and the actor, he is, quite frankly, good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my big defense of Chris Pratt there. Doesn't go beyond his workmanship as an actor, but what I'll say is he's good at his job. Oh goodness, this was a light non-comic book week, but it was actually a pretty good comic book week. Did you get any comics this week, Phil?
Yeah. I believe you said you read. Well, you did mention it. Iron Man 14.
Iron Man 14. Oh my gosh, this is. You thought the Silver Sentinel armor was bad. Welcome to now the Invincible Silver Man. Oh my goodness.
Really getting that shot into Tony Stark's head and psyche. It's like, feeling not that he wasn't seen as a child. And
yeah. Hey, real quick question. Do you know what the heck this 21 ad is?
I do not.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No.
Just here's an ad. Yeah, it's a lot of poor pitiful me, Tony. See, here he is. He's a little boy and he's crying alone. And now he's a big boy and he's crying alone because his parents are actually dead. Which makes you wonder, gee, your parents weren't dead when you were crying alone the first time. Maybe you should have had some recognition. I love that. Okay, so, it's not technically his head that grows first. It's his feet that grow first. But he does have the big head moment here.
Yeah.
Although, again, the feet are, what they say about a man with big feet. And he even comes back with the questions of phallic imagery and all the. I like it because it's sort of like he's going through his own psychological nonsense, but at the same time talking about how he's too smart for his own psychological nonsense. Like, oh, I see. I'm in my own way. I get it. Ha ha ha. It's like, yeah, but dude, you're still in your own way. And we do get that. We basically have him and Korvac each infused with the power cosmic, and each saying the exact same thing. Well, but maybe I could make the universe better with this power cosmic stuff. And in the meantime, I am just waiting for Galactus to come back and say, would you children please stop playing with my power cosmic? Bad children. Bad children.
Exactly.
Don't make me make you into a herald. As we see Korvac's got it, and then the final scene is the Invincible Silver Man. No, but it's Iron Man, but now he's silver. His armor is silver, and he's all about to face off against Korvac, which again gives us that misleading cover where we're kind of implied, oh, Tony, he's got the power cosmic and he's coming to Earth and he's going to be a cosmically charged Iron Man. No, this is going to last 2 issues, and then he'll be back to regular Iron Man because he'll either give up the power or Galactus will say, would you just give me just bad monkey. Don't play with power cosmic. That's not for you. It's not for you, monkey. Go back to your monkey home.
No soup for you.
No soup for any of us. I enjoyed this story, but it really highlights the captain of bad life decisions.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah,
Tony Stark. Let's see what else we had. Did you read Death of Doctor Strange?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. This is interesting, and I like it. And I also like the idea that basically all of the beings just came to Earth. They said, well, we'll just come to Earth and we'll let Doctor Strange fight that monster. That'll teach him. But then it's like, oh no, but actually Doctor Strange is dead, and we have to figure out why the. And I don't know if the Goth is a character that we've faced before, dealt with before, but him getting totally owned here. and like all the other like cosmic warlords just laughing at him. It's pretty sad. And there's our Galactus magic baby. I am the time baby. But we also see that Mordo is basically facing a Doctor Strange who is not playing at this point. Things I loved the ghost Flibbertigibbet. And I don't know if we've ever met her before, but I love her now, and I hope to see much more of her because she's awesome. Basically, traveling the universe, traveling the planet at hyper speed to find the missing things like the cloak and the Eye of Agamotto, but also Doctor Strange's hands, which, interestingly, we do not see Mordo having at the end. See, he's got the cloak and he's got the eye, but he doesn't have the hands. Which makes me think he came across the body after the hands were severed and he was killed. And I think what we're going to get is this was a situation that Strange set up so that he could put his hands on young Doctor Strange's body to infuse him with the power and the memories so that he could have that little cheat of death.
And maybe life force too, because didn't young Strange say, "Yeah, I only got a certain amount of lifespan, and then I'm done."
Well, yeah, because he says he can only exist for 5 days, but if he gets the hands, maybe now he can be immortal. Could be an interesting trick. I enjoy the death of Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure about our villains because they're weird. You know, they even make this say, yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of tragic backstory there with those characters. Don't know if we're ever going to get it, though. Although I find the worm character the most interesting just because we did have a similar worm monster face off against, what's his name, from the Squadron Supreme, Hyperion, recently. And it's like, now I wonder if those two are related.
But yeah, if the checklist is accurate, the next thing we're getting is the Spider-Man tie-in for Death of Doctor Strange, which I think is Ben Reilly and the Black Cat. So,
okay, well that should be fun. You know, I enjoy Ben Reilly, and he had a book out this week because he has a book out every week.
3 times a month, but yes. Yeah, that was interesting. What did you think of that? We get the whole Craven thing and.
Well, you know, I'm still convinced the Beyond Corporation is populated by Beyonders. That, like, the Beyonder, like, these are Beyonders. Like, there's something weird with the Beyond Corporation. And I gotta feel that's the thing about the Beyonders. Is, like, they are clearly. I get the feeling they're going to do a big reveal on the Beyonders soon. Because I do think that they don't want to get rid of the Beyonder. And again, I think that my fan theory, which is that the juvenile Beyonder was Beyonder Prime. But that was also just the Beyonder that looked through the hole, and that's when all the Beyonders fractured. Because as soon as the Beyonder is looking through the hole, then all the other universes just start to fracture, and that Beyonder is looking through all of them. And he used to be a single unified universe, unchanging throughout time, but then suddenly he is looking through the hole, and now he must change with this temporal universe. And that's the idea, is like this being caught up, basically that has been crashed against the temporal rocks, and that is what the Beyonder is. And he exists in our time, but he also exists throughout our time, but is sort of anchored to this moment with Owen Reese. And how that is going to play out is going to be interesting. And I do think the Beyond Corporation and the Beyonders are going to all tie back, because we know the Beyonders exist and we've seen the Beyonders in their war. But at the same time, when we saw the Beyonders fighting, even when they went for super alien looks, they all seemed to have a lot of traits that called back to that first Beyonder, like that giant, that have those big giant shoulder circles for some
Mhm.
reason. You know, when he would just get that weird industrial look on his superpowered armor. So I do think that they're going to tie it all back. You know, I do think, because that's the thing. The people that read these comic books, they were reading Secret Wars 2 back, you know, when they were my age. And the fact of the matter is that Secret Wars 2, like the original Secret Wars is cool and all, but Secret Wars 2 was this one where you got into that depth. And you get into that shooter era depth of comic book storytelling that I think a lot of modern writers hold dear.
Hmm.
And so I do think we're going to get that back with these guys. But
I had a
that's my own opinion.
I had a weird thought. I was like, what if because I always thought the Iron Man stuff took place before this, and that I'm like, what if the Beyond Corporation didn't get Ben Riley? What if they just cloned Ben Riley? So what if this is a copy of a copy? This Spider-Man?
Oh, I think that's entirely possible. I think we might even get like, oh no, we just pulled that Ben Riley out of another universe.
But, well, I just wonder if he's a clone of Ben Riley because, and I think it was Kelly Thompson's first issue. Like she had like Ben Riley was starting to forget like Peter's memories, like some of Peter's memories. So I'm wondering if that's because he's he's a clone who was cloned from a clone.
Yeah, well, you don't. Well, you have that old Xerox,
Yeah.
which isn't, which I guess you could say it works, but I don't know if it necessarily works. Although, actually, there is a Tolymer. It's called I forget, it's Tolymer phase. Basically, it's how your genes repair themselves, and theoretically, it could cause degradation in ensuing copies because the genetics are from an aged point. So for example, they had issues with Dolly the sheep, where she was born as a genetic duplicate, but she started to experience age-related problems that were related to a sheep the age she was when she was cloned.
And two, I mean, but if they cloned him right from Ben Riley, it's like that's how we got brought back after the '90s. The Jackal like brought him back and then killed the Jackal for some reason brought Ben Riley back and killed him off like 20 some times. So that's like that whole clone conspiracy. Ben was a little wacky because he remembered like every death. So so if he had been killed off and regrown like 20 some times, maybe his DNA was damaged too.
Yeah,
So they cloned off of that.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that there's, like I said, I'm going to say I think there's more at play here than we think, and I am looking forward to see where it all goes next. And Pete in the coma is a little weird, because again, I guess that's a way to take him off the board, but it does seem kind of like, yeah, this is just so we can take him off the board.
Well, and two, I think that's going to be the excuse to bring Otto in too, though.
Well, he is a master of radiation, and he is dying of radiation poisoning. And he says, something about this body seems very familiar. Why, it seems his blood itself is radioactive.
Because once I heard...
Now, does Aunt May in this universe know he's Spider-Man?
No, not since the whole Mephisto deal. No, she doesn't know. So again, but still, again, she might just be going to Otto because she knows he's a master of radiation. Like, help my nephew.
Could be, man. I mean, I would love to see that because he is, of course, even Reed Richards acknowledged, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
There's one guy to get, and it ain't Bruce Banner. It's Otto Octavius. This guy knows radiation.
And again, Aunt May and Otto have that connection. So
I would love. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see more of Otto. I really want Otto. I mean, me. I really want to see Ms. Marconi back in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Otto and Ms. Marconi, and I want to see Tolliver back. Actually, I want to see a whole thing with Tolliver and Otto just sort of deal with. Look, you were the one that did some kind of stupid deal with some being that was supposed to be a demon. That you lost all your memories is not my problem, dude. You made a bad deal, but fortunately, as luck would have it, you were backed up. And so I'm Tolliver, you're Otto. Go be Otto, I'll be Tolliver. And I'm going to have an actual successful life in myself. I really want that. I want that because I would love for Marconi to just say, F it, I'm going to the clone tanks. I shared all this stuff with me. I know where this stuff is.
Yeah, I mean, they can have both. They can have their cake and eat it too. They can have both versions of the character.
Mm-hmm. And I think it opens up all sorts of interesting ideas about being a clone and the power of being a clone and what it means, especially as far as being a soul and what your soul is in this universe. That every clone has a soul is a really important thing, as I've said, because if we go with the idea that hell is what you make it and that you're only there by choice, that suddenly if you have a bunch of, as I've said, if you have a bunch of Bentley Whitmans down there, they could sort of like, why don't we all just rise up? We've got a sufficient army. We could take these guys out, and they just start punching people and taking names. These great clone armies of the underworld, trying to retake power away from Mephisto because Mephisto is just an itch. He only exists because you let him.
I think it'd be interesting if they really go into depth on Otto too, because I mean, he really didn't get much time during that whole kindred stuff. But it's like, remember, Mephisto told him, it's like, I'll put you back in your body, and remember, you had brain damage, from that original accident. I'll take away the brain damage, So, and you'll see you're still not a nice person. So that's going to be the first time they really go into Otto's character, and it's like, oh, hey, for the first time, you're Dr. Octopus, but you don't have the, any brain damage or any
but they also took
radiation.
He also took away his memories of who he was and all the things he had experienced.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that brain damage is gone, but he doesn't remember that. So that's going to be
exactly.
Why am I so different?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, and that's where those tapes from Tolliver are going to come in. So and I would love if that's exactly how they solve it. It's like, here you go, Otto. Here's the backup. Why don't you just go upload that and see if that answers your questions? Because that's the thing. I would love the technological solution to the spiritual problem. That is just totally perfect Marvel right there. It's like, no, we got that on discs. So,
I mean, I thought it would have been more interesting if Mephisto would have let him kept some of his memories and been like, see, look, I'm going to leave you those memories of, you actually being like a decent human being, and you're never going to accomplish that again. And it's going to drive you insane.
No, because he wouldn't, because that's the thing. That's the thing. Otto is smarter than Mephisto.
Yeah.
And if he let him have all those memories, Mephisto's not going to have the upper hand.
That's what I'm saying.
Otto's smarter than Mephisto, except for the fact that he made the deal with Mephisto, and that makes Mephisto, basically, Mephisto's the con artist who says, "Oh, I could never outsmart a big smart guy like you. So why don't you just sign this deal? Because I could not smart you if I tried. You're so smart." And that's my thing. I honestly think there's a clearly marked exit sign in Mephisto's realm, just like Ambush. I was so disappointed when I was reading the Suicide Squad, and that's not how they got out of hell. Is Mephisto says, "Don't worry, I've been here before. Right there, there's the exit. Let's out on 29th Street." It would have been perfect. It would have been consistent with DC lore. And it would have made sense for the character. That's the point. You want to make sense for the character. And would also emphasize why it's so important that he be there, because he has walked out of hell before, And that's the thing. I think that's the thing, is you can get out of hell whenever you want, but most people, when they go to hell, they just feel they need to be punished, and they never let themselves out. Even the crazy sociopath ones. Because, when you die and you're a sociopath, you expect to go to hell. Yeah. When you're still aware after you're dead, then, you expect this to be this whole thing. And when it's not, and like the best you get is like darkness and emptiness, you want to have the pageantry. That's the thing. Hell is all about pageantry. And it's about, sinners receiving what they feel they deserve in that afterlife. All right. And speaking about afterlives, did you read Thor?
Yes.
Here's what we're going to say. This is the weirdest thing. The gauntlet that Odin goes to.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's in any way related to Nowhere?
I mean, it seems, if nothing else, I think it's supposed to give you like, it's supposed to remind you of that. But yeah, I don't know, because it's I mean, it's kind of the same. Instead of celestial head, it's a hand.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And then oh, the dwarves have been killed, which is also like, dude, what the hell? You're just going to commit a genocide on the elves? I mean, I know you did it in MCU already, but that was Thanos.
Yeah.
Now you're just saying Mjolnir is doing it, and I don't know who this God of Hammers is supposed to be, but I am less impressed by this storyline. It seems a lot of overkill.
Yeah.
To set up a big bad that is obviously not going to be that big of a bad, because Thor's going to beat him eventually.
Is someone using that hammer, or is that hammer gaining? Is there something in the hammer? Is there something living in that hammer who's like, oh, hey, Odin and Thor have kept me in chains for millennia?
Who knows? I mean, yes, there is a spirit of the storm within the hammer, and that could be it. And the god of the hammer is the hammer itself. I don't know. I'm a little exhausted by all of it, Phil.
I know. Oh, hey, real quick, I don't think you read it, but Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads #5.
How did that go? Was that a Christmas issue?
It was the conclusion. That Carnilla, she has, it's the Matrix Stone. I guess it's like I don't know if it's like the strongest Norn stone, but yeah, I mean, she's swatting away Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Icarus.
As you do.
But then the Black Cat gets in there, and her and Spider-Man talk to the Norns, like these old witches. They're like, okay, hey, this is gonna be bad for you if she gets like unlimited power, man. She's just gonna kill everybody. So they have them send out a signal, and then of course, since we have an Eternals movie out, well, first, Zurus shows up, and then he's like wrestling with Carnilla to get that stone, and she's like, "My power is infinite now. Yours isn't. You're not going to last forever." He goes, "Oh, I know that." He goes, "That's why I brought a friend." So, yeah, brought his old drinking buddy Odin.
Good old Odin.
So Odin like takes the stone and crushes it.
Yeah, I don't know. My only happy use of the Norn stones, which is again a left hanging thread, is Loki's creation of Frusti, the snow golem, who rules over Jotunheim right now, and they never followed up with what Frusti was doing. It's like Frusti seemed to be like, honestly, a pretty decent, wise ruler, even though like he like made people be sad. But it's like, life is sad. You would not be a happy farmer. It's like you think you'd be happy, but trust me, you would not be happy.
But no, these symbiote. This was like the third miniseries. Peter David wrote all these, so I mean they're pretty good. And like the end when Spider-Man and Black Cat disappear, I think is it Zurus goes, he goes, who was that woman in black meeting the Black Cat? And Odin goes, I don't know. And Zurus is like, all knowing, yeah, right.
Yeah, he's only got the one eye now.
Yeah, this is back when Hulk was in the Crossroads. So yeah.
Okay, well, that was cool. That does sound cool, actually. I may have to go back and read that. All right, Philip. In the meantime, if anyone would like to talk about these amazing stories we're reading every week and all the amazing things that happen every day in the genre fiction universe, how can they reach out to us and touch us?
Well, if you want to touch us, yes, you can always email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And your follow us on all our social medias, subscribe to the YouTube channel, our Patreon, which is more important now. We're all paying out of our own pocket, and you can find merchandise. Everything is at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
Alrighty then. And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things. Not Legends of Tomorrow, because right now we're in the hiatus, but also because honestly, it's just too good a story to tweet. I just like to watch it, and but I'll tweet other things eventually. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have some music and let's get on out of here. I love that laser gun music, man. Yeah, it's got that bass line. Now let's cue the theremin. So there's the theremin. Yeah, before that you got a little bit of electric organ. Yeah, it's good music, man. We give it to you all every week here on Super Connectivity.
Where you getting? Where's getting theremin? Star Trek in here.
Theremins are coming back, baby.